Okay.
All right, all right. Is my video starting to get a little bit smoother yet? It's still kind of lagging.
Yeah, it's still pretty laggy, but that's okay.
Yeah, that's fine.
Video coming as well?
Yeah, yeah. No, we're getting video. You're looking good. I got my captions on. I'm going to turn on captions for you. Oh, that handles my captions too. Well, I guess people are going to get double captions from me now. All right, that's fine. No problem. Well, we are connected. We don't have any viewers yet. Um,
Okay.
so we'll just give it a sec. Wait for somebody to join. It sends out an automatic message um, when I start. But
Okay. So are you running for office in Austin, in Texas, or for the federal government?
I'm running for the federal government. So I live in Austin, but I'm running for U.S. House. So
Oh,
yeah. So there's going to be a redistricting this year. There will likely be a brand new district in the area, and I will likely run in whatever that new district is, which is super cool.
oh,
Um,
okay.
yeah, but so I'm just gonna go ahead and just introduce you. So hello everyone, welcome back. Glad to have you. Hey TC, always good to have you here. Today we have a special guest. This is John. And he and I spoke a little over a week ago about this cool thing that he's written something like 11 million words about or something. His love system, life's optimal virtual economy. Uh,
Vir- Virtuous.
Virtuous, sorry, virtuous economy, of course, virtuous economy. And he's just on today to kind of talk about it, and we're gonna go over it a little bit, and we'll have a nice little conversation. So go ahead and throw something in the chat, say hello, whatever it is. Uh, but go ahead, John, tell us what this is all about. What are we talking about today?
Well, for many years I've been designing this, and I called it the Life's Optimal Virtuous Economy or Life's Optimal Economic System. And, an acronym for it is the love system. I've recently been calling it the love union as well. It's basically a new socio-economic system that if we were to, start it, everyone would have everything they need. We no longer live in a world of scarcity like most people live by. They think that we live in scarcity, but we don't. The only thing that's scarce is money and people get. So I designed this system so that we could end poverty, end crime, war, hunger, homelessness, all that stuff. And, we could all come together as the human beings we're supposed to be, and be a better society. Currently, society is indoctrinated within this capitalist system, and it's not looking good. So
Yeah, there's
basically,
yeah, yeah, and it's you're not the first person that I've even had on my live stream who has advocated for a new type of system to deal with some of the ills that we're facing, and it's based on this concept that we now live in abundance. So the really cool part is we have an opportunity to talk about some of the details and more intricate things. Obviously, we want to make the world a better place, and we have the ability to do so. It's just about making that choice. So I think one of the big things is people are going to want to know what makes your system different from maybe some of the other systems that we've seen before, or that people have talked about before.
well, currently we live in a system where banks have full control over the whole world. The Federal Reserve is not federal at all. Money's not created by government. It's created by individuals, just like you and me. It's created by bank owners. And a long time ago, they came up with a good scam to, scam the whole world and the U.S. government into creating money for us. But they create it out of debt. So all this stuff that you see in the government that they're always trying to cover and pay for, You know, they have to cut costs here in order to cover this and all that kind of bullshit. You know, we don't need that anymore. I mean, they create money as debt and loan it to our government, such as for all these stimulus payments we got recently. All that was created as a debt by the World Banks, and that's all owed back. So now we have people saying, how are we going to pay for that and all that, you know? And in my system, money is created without debt. Well, ultimately, I wanted to create a system without money at all. But you can't just jump into having money, you know, from having money into having no money. The world would go crazy. Fear would kick in. Stores would be raided. People wouldn't know how much they're supposed to go and get at the grocery store. So they would just bring their 10 kids and 10 baskets and fill it up, you know, because, oh, everything's free, you know. So in our current system, people need to have some kind of budgeting method. And in my system, the love system, money is created for each individual. It's not created in bulk to be loaned to the government, or to be loaned to any company, or to be loaned to anyone. I mean, to the way the system is now. You know, like your job, you get paid through money creation. Whoever you work for gets paid through money creation. Bill Gates gets paid through money creation. So does Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos and all these people. They won't lose money. I'm not trying to take their money from them. They will actually, their money will be increased in my system just so they'll shut up, you know, about it and not try to use their money to stop a new system from going into play, because ultimately that's what people with lots of money have, power. And my system is going to get rid of power based on money. The only power you have with money in my system is the power to go to the store and buy you a new TV or a new couch or new products that are made from materials, you know, of the world. Services in my system are free. And lots of things are free in my system, actually, like food. We all have an account that money is created into for food, as well as for hygiene supplies and clothing, you know, a set amount for each person, each family. And that right there covers, you know, your basic living. And there's no rent in my system. There's no mortgages. Matter of fact, everybody will be paid back if they've been paying on a mortgage their whole life. The reason I say that is because, you know, we're going to have all these asshole people that say, oh, I've been paying my mortgage for 50 years and you're just going to give this asshole something for free. It don't happen like that. Well, that's to keep that guy from complaining. You know, look, you're going to get your entire mortgage back, all insurance payments you ever put into your house, all that you're going to get back. It's going to be deposited immediately into your spending account. And whenever you spend money in my system also, like if you go to Walmart to buy something, it's deleted. Walmart doesn't get that money. The employees, if there is employees at Walmart, technically we don't really need employees at most places nowadays because we have technological, you know, advancements that can help that. But people still want to work. I still want to work, you know, in the right field, of course. I don't want to just do grunt work, you know, my life and just, I don't know. Anyway, basically, so whenever you go to Walmart and spend money, it's deleted out of the system. I mean, there's a record of it that you spent that money, but it's deleted. And so nobody gets that money. Mr. Walmart and his family, rich family, don't get it, but they get paid through money creation as well. So it would, to them, they would really notice not much of a difference because they'll still be getting money for, you know, running Walmart, but actually they'll get more money than they get now. But really the money that they get, all it could really be spent on is buying products. Of course, they can't go to the store and buy 100 TVs. Nobody needs to buy 100 TVs, unless maybe you're like a news station or something, or some kind of thing that needs a bunch of TVs set up. You know, there's very select few reasons why somebody would need that many TVs. But basically, you know, we go and we spend our money and it's all deleted. And the people that work at Walmart get paid through money creation into their accounts. and that's in an earned income account. So you have multiple accounts under your name, and one of them's a food account, one's a clothing account, one's a hygiene and health account. Uh, Basically, hygiene and health, I mean like medicine that you can buy at Walmart or whatever. Medicines like ibuprofen, Tylenol, you know, things like that. And so anybody born into this world automatically has those accounts. And of course, the people that are born, babies that are born into this world, their parents cover it. Cover the account since the baby don't know how to spend money.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, that's what it is. And there's enough homes, there's enough food in this world for everyone, and there's no reason why we need to be living in poverty. While millions of people, billions, live in poverty, struggling every day just to survive, and that's just wrong. We need to change the whole system so that that doesn't happen. And once you end poverty, you mostly end crime. You probably end 90% of crime just by giving everyone money into free accounts so that they can make a basic living. And if they want to earn money, if they want to buy nice things, then they go and they work and they earn their money to buy, nice things. And all restaurants are free. All services throughout society, haircuts, car repair, home repair, things like that is all free. The people that work in them jobs get paid through money creation. So if I need my car fixed, I go up to the car place and I let them work on my car, and the mechanic that works on it gets paid through money creation. And the people that work at the place and the owner, the CEO, get paid through money creation. And it's really simple once you get all the details. Of course, I'm only given some of the basic details, but that's pretty much all you need is basic details, and any intelligent mind can, pretty much figure out the rest. But I've written a lot about it, and I write about a lot of other things too, like psychology. The current system, everybody's psychology is based in this capitalist system. Everything that everyone does or thinks, it's all based on money. Decisions people make, it's all based in money. And money is driving people's thoughts and emotions and everything else. And it shouldn't be that way. So many people live in stress, even people that are somewhat comfortable living in the middle class, they're still stressed because they have to work 40 to 60 hours a week just to get by. And, send their kids off for somebody else to raise. And in my system, you'd raise your own kids and you'd get paid for raising your own kids. And, that's basically it. Is there any questions? Am I leaving anything out so far?
There's a couple of things I want to talk about. So first and foremost, this is your concept of like basic needs are covered. Money is created for things that you do, like work or whatever, whatever type of work it is that you're doing, but not grunt work. Like we're trying to get rid of that, and allow automation to handle the stuff that people don't want to spend their time doing. And then money is destroyed when you buy luxury products, right? Am I getting all that right?
When you buy products that use up actual physical resources, yeah. But except like getting your car fixed, if you need a new alternator, you don't have to pay for that. We want a doctor to have a running car. We want people to be able to get around. We want that person to be able to get to the emergency room to do his surgery or whatever. So everyone gets transportation, and everyone's transportation is covered if it breaks down, home repair and things like that. So those actually use physical resources, but you're saving also, because instead of replacing a whole car, which uses a lot more resources, you're replacing an alternator. And also, by the way, if you want to trade in your car, we could have it to where you trade in your car, because basically even the most expensive car on the market right now pretty much uses the same exact resources, physical resources, metal, plastics, rubber, things like that go into building the car. It uses, a BMW uses the same as a Pinto. They're basically the same size car. They have the same basic resources involved in them. The only difference is the time that's put into making them, and the effort by the engineering department, of course, to make it a little bit better, design better, last longer. That's why they charge more in our current system, is because there's more labor involved in making those cars. But in my system, that labor is covered through money creation. So whoever goes to get another car, they're not paying those people for their labor. The system itself does. And so basically, so basically, whenever you go shopping, those resources are what cost you money that you have to earn. You know, eventually it will be like that. Eventually, whenever we go through generations learning this, you know, they won't be growing up in a society seeing their family stressed out, their mom and dad arguing, their mom and dad getting divorced. All this divorce rate is mainly because of financial problems. You know, stress based on finances. That's the majority of problems you see in this world, and through, you know, relationships, you know, divorce and all that. But anyway, I'm sorry, I'm kind of rambling on here.
No, you're all right. So the point I wanted to make. So those things that I identified are very similar to how another system works that I had the political advisor on, called copiosis. That was probably about a month ago. Now they invented a new type of currency that was that used blockchain, right? This modern technology, you know, and the idea was the currency, they called it NBR. I don't remember what it stands for. Maybe TC in the chat if you remember what it stands for, you can throw it in. But it was, how it worked was, you know, it's like when you do things that make the world a better place, whether it helps the environment or provides good for others, you get rewarded with this NBR, and then NBR is used to purchase luxury products and services, and then it's destroyed. Prices are still set by the person who provides it, but they receive NBR based on how much good their actual product or service continues to cause throughout the world after they get it. So it sounds pretty similar to the thing that you're telling me about. One I think the biggest difference actually is that, like, you're still using like money as we know it today, to try to keep it. Net benefit reward was what NBR stood for. One of the differences is that you're actually using money. You're not coming up with this new thing. You're using this thing that we already have, and you're saying that why not, right? We're trying to make this transition as easy as possible. And one of the other things you pointed out that I found really intriguing, that I've been thinking about since our conversation a lot, is like, you don't want to piss off the billionaires.
Right.
And
yeah.
Yeah, talk about that a little bit more, about, like, because we had talked about like the freedom dividend, right, the universal basic income, and all this stuff, and I think this is a really important point that needs to be talked about more.
Well, the way we currently have the system set up in this capitalist system, money can't all necessarily be tracked. So as we're having this conversation, you know, people could be listening in on us that you might not even know about. People that have all the money, you know, probably using our little chat here is not a good example, but, you know, maybe use a politician, for example, like Bernie Sanders or something. If something that he's talking about does actually go through, you know, he's always laying into the billionaires, millionaires, all the time. And I understand what he's saying, and I agree with him to an extent. But the way he's just, you know, bombarding them with so much hate and anger because they don't pay enough taxes, Bernie's view is not complete. He doesn't see the root cause of the problems yet. He sees, you know, he's still in the old way of thinking that, okay, well, in order to pay for all this stuff, we have to tax the billionaires. Where else are we going to get the money to pay for all this? We got to tax all these people that don't need that much money. You know, and I disagree with that, you know, because those are the people, not all of them. I'm not saying all rich people are bad people. They're not. You know, there's a lot of good people out there that are rich. But there are some that control the world using their money. They're able to hire assassins. They're able to bring down Twin Towers. They're able to start wars through false flag events, and through media manipulation, things like that. So, and of course, in politics, I constantly hear, you know, people saying, well, how are we going to pay for that? You know, whenever somebody proposes something, and everybody says, you know, I don't know, or we can cut the cost of this or cut the cost of that and cover this. And in my system, we don't have to cut costs for nothing. I mean, the military would still be funded, even though I don't agree with having military fully, but I understand we're still going to be in a transition. Other countries can still start shit with us, so we still need to be prepared, just like on Star Wars. I mean, on Star Trek. You know, we're decent people. We want peace, but there's also others out there that want power and control, and their money is what gives them that. In my system, money won't give you power and control over any person or bulk resources. So you can't, you know, somebody can't get somebody to do something just because they're trying to throw money in their face. You know, in our current system, that's basically all it is. You know, you got money, money talks. That's it. You know, and people do anything for money. You can find somebody to do anything you want for money. This, in my system, that would end sex trafficking. It would end slavery. It would end, you know, all human trafficking, and just all kinds of black markets would be ended because there would be no way for anybody to spend money because it's all electronic. And we wouldn't be able to, you know, a rich person wouldn't be able to spend $1 million to pay an assassin to assassinate me or you or Bernie or somebody, because it would be known. That would be seen. That $1 million would be seen, transferred. My system, we don't necessarily give each other money. Money doesn't exchange from one hand to the next, basically. I mean, I in some of my writings, I do give, you know, some leeway for that in certain situations, but basic situations, like I want to sell my old laptop, you know, somebody can give me money for the laptop. But if I start selling a whole bunch of laptops, then I'm running a business, and people can't be giving me money directly for a bunch of laptops because I'm trying to, you know, thwart the system. You know, basically, you know, I mean, that's just that's an idea. But basically, in my system, money doesn't exchange hands. Just like whenever you go to Walmart to shop, it gets deleted. The money does. So the money that we spend, we don't necessarily transfer it to one another, you know, except for in very minute cases, you know, or we don't even have to at all. I mean, there's so many. This system is malleable. We could all decide on certain things, like how much is everybody going to get food each month. You know, I don't barely eat, you know, $300 a month worth of food, so that's all I need. You know, but you know, some people might be used to having a little bit higher quality food or more expensive food. But in my system, all the prices will be changed as well. You know, prices won't really matter. Prices are only there for budgeting. Like if you go to the grocery store to get milk and bread and all that, you know, you could say, you know, it takes a certain amount of credits to buy those products. And your credits are free to you. They're deposited into a food account for you. So you're not actually spending your own money, even though you're spending, you know, when you shop, you're actually spending money, but it's not money that you've gone out and earned. You know, we earn it just by being born. You know, our system, we have more food on this planet than we could even eat. If we were to just give it all away for free, we still couldn't eat it all. If we had another Earth above us, we'd be able to feed half that planet without them creating any food at all. I mean, if they had half our population, I mean, and we would be able to feed all them. That's how much food we create. You know, most of it goes to waste, and a lot of it just sits in bins or storehouses because the people that own those lots of resources, they end up, you know, saying, hey, I need money for that, even though they got billions sitting in their bank account. You know, sorry, nothing's free. You know, that common politician, you know, political term, oh, nothing's free in this world.
Yeah.
Typically said by most Republicans, but I prefer not to make it a Republican-Democrat thing because both sides are wrong about so much. In my system, everybody is cared for, and it doesn't require, just because it's called the love system, it doesn't require you to love me, although that's what we'd hope for. But it's called I came up with that name because the system itself shows love. If you hate someone, you can't keep them from eating. You You can't say, hey, this motherfucker don't deserve to eat. You know, so, or that person doesn't deserve to have a home. He doesn't work, or he doesn't do this or that. You know, he doesn't deserve that. Nobody can stop you just because how they feel about you. Nobody can stop you from having the basics that even that person that hates you has: a home, food, clothing, hygiene supplies, and not to mention free health care for everyone. All the doctors are paid through money creation, so are the nurses, the janitors, the food service people at the hospitals, the ambulance drivers, everyone. It's all paid through money creation. So we don't have to worry about, okay, where are we going to get all this money to pay for this free stuff? We don't. It's created, just like money's created now. But currently it's created by private individual banks, you know, private owners of banks. They create money, and, you know, it's quite a scam. And, you know, they create it as a debt. So if we were to give all that money back and throw it on their doorstep, say, here's your damn money, they'd say, oh, where's the rest of it? You owe me for interest on all that. That money doesn't exist. Billions and trillions of dollars don't exist, you know, that we owe in interest.
Yeah.
So that's it. And education is free as well. You can get as many degrees as you want. And you get paid for going to school in my system also. You know, the more smart people we have, the better off our whole world is. I can't believe that we currently charge for education to begin with.
Yeah.
Why should a doctor have to pay to help us? That's ridiculous. Yeah. We need more doctors. We need more doctors to get trained, you know, to get an education.
Yeah,
they could help us.
Yeah, we need more doctors. We need more therapists. We need more tradespeople, right? We need more people. We need more people doing volunteer work. You know, artistry. We need more artists. So a couple questions from the chat. Let's just switch gears for a sec. So TC asked, you know, where you're from and where you kind of got some of these ideas from.
Well, I came up with it all myself. You know, I've been just sitting back and looking at the world and what it's become, and I've been trying to figure out, you know, since I was a kid, pretty much, you know, what's wrong with this world. And, you know, when I was younger, I thought, okay, if I just, you know, start me a business and make lots of money, make millions of dollars, everything will be fine. But no, it won't be, because there's still people in poverty. I refuse to do that now. You know, I'd rather live in poverty while others are still living in poverty. I don't want to get too comfortable, because people that are too comfortable, you know, they tend to not want to change the system. You know, they tend to just want it to stay like it is. You know, okay, I've got what I need. I don't need anybody coming and try to change it now, because I don't know what's going to happen when you change it. But anyway, I'm from Austin, Texas, and I'm currently just on the outskirts of Austin. I'm about to be traveling to California, because some of my writings I'm trying to get made into movies or documentaries or TV shows. I've got several movie ideas already, and it's going to incorporate this love system as well, you know, and psychology and politics and religion, just all this stuff that, you know, we currently witness in this world and go through. And I'm 46 years old, and really I started this main journey probably about, well, it wasn't probably, it was back whenever I turned 30. Right when I was turning 30, I had a huge awakening, and that's why I call my site Awakening the Collective also, because I came to realize that, you know, besides all this other stuff we're talking about, all this stuff came to me after realizing a lot of other things, that there is something more in this world that most people don't even realize, like sounds crazy, but like a wireless connection between human minds and hearts, like we're all literally connected, like these cell phones are connected right now, but we're mostly subconscious or unconscious to it. But once you start to become more aware of this collective consciousness, you start to notice synchronicities happening to you, things that just mathematically don't add up. You know, like it's, I don't like to use religious terms, but like God, you know, put that in front of you, brought that person to you, you know, made that thing happen, that synchronicity happen, to help you through a certain situation, or to meet certain people, or things like that. But I've been witnessing synchronicity since I was 30, and then I look back on the past in my life, after I discovered synchronicity, and I realized that it's been happening to me all my life. Like the number 13 follows me around. My birthday's on the 13th. My daughter's birthday's on the 13th. Many of my phone numbers have added up to the number 13, license plates, home addresses, and then I tend to meet people that have something to do with the number 13 too. Either their birthday's on the 13th, or if you add it up equals 13, or I don't know. I know that's a silly one, but 13 seems to guide me. And if you know, 13 actually has a really long history over any other number. If you look it up, you'll see that 13 has a really long history, thousands of years of history. And so basically, through synchronicity and this collective consciousness that I've been witnessing, it opened my mind to just take a look out into the world and understand what the hell is going on. Why do we have poverty? Why do we have homeless people when there's plenty of food, plenty of homes? It doesn't make sense. So I started to design a system, based on that. And also, one thing I'm really educated in, or experienced in, I shall say, not educated by an education system, but through experience, is understanding people and psychology and emotions, especially. Why people do the things they do. Why people rob a bank. Why people shoot another person. Why people commit other crimes. Why people, have the problems they have and deal with them the way they do emotionally. I understand now that this system is what causes most of the problems. Majority of all people's problems is caused by capitalism. Everything is caused by capitalism. The way we have the money creation system, the spending system we have now. The world's controlled by other people, and we're all slaves. We're debt slaves. No matter if people believe it or not, we are. You can't go and get something to eat unless you slave to make the money to get it. Unless you're lucky enough to qualify for some kind of disability or something, disability payments or food stamps or something like that. But you got to jump through hoops for all that. I mean, why do you got to prove to somebody that you're hungry? That's ridiculous. You got to jump through hoops just to get food stamps. But anyway, yeah. Did that answer your question? That's where I was from, my name, my age, and how I started thinking about all these things. So, yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, and people were also wondering about a website. I forgot to put it in the description because you don't actually have like a domain bot. It's just on Google Sites, I believe. So,
right.
If you can either just Google life's optimal virtuous economy, all one word, no spaces, and it'll be the first result, or sites.google.com/site/awakening the collective /home here. I'll actually throw it in the chat for people real quick.
I'm kind of writings, to be honest with you. I'm not a writer, and I don't claim to be a professional writer. If you read my homepage, you'll see that. I admit that. I don't like writing, actually, because it doesn't seem to achieve much anyway, and plus, I'm not super great at it, but I've tried my best for well over a decade, trying to write as much as I can, because I don't have many people to talk to. Most people are driven by this money system, so they don't have time to talk. I was glad to have the opportunity to talk to you. You seem to have time, but of course, we're still within this time money system because we're only on here for an hour. I could talk all day or all week with someone, but people don't have the time to do that. They have to go and make money so they can pay their rent, their mortgage, pay their child care, get gasoline for their car, get food, diapers, it's people don't have time. I mean, people are living comfortably enough to where most of them don't want to make time because they'd actually rather fight against a system like this because they're afraid. Fear kicks in, and that fear is entrained in them because of the system. They grew up that way. Everybody indoctrinates each other as we're born as babies into this world. We're indoctrinated by our family, our parents, our siblings, and peers, teachers, politicians, television, you name it. All the people around us are all indoctrinated. And There's only a select few that are waking up these days, and I would say it's in the hundreds of thousands or maybe million. I don't know. Those are just numbers I'm throwing out there. But people around me, they don't seem to be woken up at all. They seem interested in what I talk about, like my friends or people that I meet. Just like I met you, people find interest in it. People that have time and an open mind to think about things and discuss stuff like this. Most people don't have that time, or they don't have the mental capacity to talk about things like this, because usually they're either politically indoctrinated or they just don't have time. And I understand that. You know, I currently live in capitalism myself, so I have no choice but to do side work to get paid money so that I can buy food and gas. And luckily, I have a car. I've been homeless many times. Matter of fact, I live in my car right now. I just started living in my car the last few days. But because I'm about to be going on a trip to California, so I kind of wanted to get my car set up for that anyway. But that's even dangerous. If you think you're free, try living homeless and see how free you really are.
Mm-hmm.
It's illegal to live homeless. It's illegal to live in a car. You get the infamous knock on your door if you're sleeping somewhere that you haven't had permission to sleep at, like on the side of the road or wherever, or downtown Austin. If you park anywhere, you're going to get hassled by cops. They love to hassle poor people, especially because poor people don't have a way to, fight it. They can't hire, a group of attorneys to fight for them. They don't have money to spend on that. So, and people that are homeless that are out there on the streets, they fly signs and they get tickets for flying a sign. And that's just ridiculous. They can't even afford to get food. That's why they're flying a sign. And a cop's going to come and give them a ticket. They're already broken up, and you're going to try to, make them pay a ticket. Really, that ticket is so that they can get a warrant later on, and then they can arrest them.
Yeah.
If we can give a jail cell and food for free to somebody, why the hell can't we do it before they commit a crime?
Yeah.
Why can't we do it for them not to commit a crime?
It's definitely cheaper to house, just like straight up house people than it is to jail people. Obviously, like economically. But I want to address a couple comments here. So first off, we have a comment that there is a global group that wants to hear and support your idea with many members in agreement. That group is called Awaken Dreams Synergy, and I can text that to you later, so you have it on record. I'll do that for you. But somebody else here who's been on a couple of my streams before, and we've kind of gone back and forth. So they say kind of the whole point of working is to earn money to buy things that your job doesn't directly provide you. That is why money is a thing, so people can have specialized jobs and not have to work to make their own food, furniture, housing, clothes, etc. And so, and I think the interesting part here is I don't think he's saying this. I'm not sure if they're saying this in agreement with you or in disagreement with you. I would say that it actually ends up being an argument in favor of what you're saying, because your whole point is that is that you work to earn money to buy luxuries or things that like products that are not basic necessities.
Right.
So they're saying that it's a good thing. Okay, so what they're saying, the next comment they just had is it's a good thing, referring to everything that they just said. And so the idea I think that we're having here is that people still can work specialized quote unquote jobs. I don't like the word jobs. I think it's very 20th century.
I'm the same way. Yep.
But however, whatever word you want to use. Okay, so they say, should you have things provided to you if you do not provide things in return, either by making things or providing services? So, and I think you would agree with me here, John. The idea is that we're saying basic necessities should be provided to you for free, for nothing. You shouldn't have to do anything to get basic necessities, because we now live in a world of abundance, right? Right? We're not making the argument about whether or not this used to make sense in the past. We're saying today we live in a world of abundance where we can secure everybody's basic needs. And so we should provide that to people for free, but then whatever's on top of that, then that is stuff that you need to earn. So that's the argument that I'm making. John, would you agree with that?
Correct. Yeah. Eventually, we will do away with the majority of jobs, but a lot of people still want to work jobs. I still do. I mean, Nikola Tesla and other, super smart inventors, they didn't invent things to make money. They did it because they enjoy it. And I would hope that doctors do what they do because they enjoy being a doctor, not because they were indoctrinated as a child by their parents. Oh, you need to make good money so that you can afford to live in this world, so you need to be a doctor. I would rather not be worked on by a doctor like that. I would rather be worked on by a doctor that actually does it because they love it, because they love big people, because they love their job. Although I don't like that word either, jobs. But I've come to the realization that most people are indoctrinated with these words, so it's best to just go ahead and try to use the same words so that people can understand what we're saying. The same thing with religion. People talk about God this and God that. I prefer to call it the collective consciousness, but they can call it whatever they want. And if I'm around a religious person talking to them, I'll use the word God and Jesus and all that. That's no problem, and miracles and things like that. But the phraseology we use should match what current people already know. So using the word jobs should be fine, even though we both don't like the word. People understand what we mean when we're saying it.
Yeah, and they just asked, the next question they just asked is, and where do you get that money from? So I think they missed the earlier part in the live stream where we were talking about the idea here is, so in your system specifically, and you can correct me if I'm wrong because I just want to make sure I understand it. So for basic necessities, you have a variety of different accounts to help cover those basic needs. So you'd have like a food account, you'd have a housing account, a clothing account, a health and hygiene account, a transportation account, or whatever. And money would be...
Technically it's 4 accounts for all the free things. You don't need a housing account because mortgages are going to end, rents are going to end. In the very beginning of starting the system, just so we don't scare all the landlords, the lords, so that we don't scare them into thinking, oh, they're going to get, no, they're trying to take my shit. We'll just pay them to begin with. But ultimately, in my system, all mortgages will be ended, all rents will be ended. If you live in a home or an apartment, that home or apartment is yours. If you don't have one, you could either have one built or you could search just like you do now for a vacant one and apply for it. First come, first served, basically. And homes will be built for free. If you want a new home, you can get it built for free. And all the carpenters and builders that build that home, they get paid through money creation. So the question was, where does the money come from? That's the most common question in politics, and I get sick of that question. In my system, the money comes from nowhere, just like it comes from nowhere from the Federal Reserve when they created out of thin air. They created as debt, though. In my system, it's not created as debt. And in my system, it's directly created for you. It's not some bulk $1 trillion plan that's going to create $1 trillion, in one bulk spending, barrel. There's no pot of money that you have to figure out, is there enough in that pot of money to spend on this or that? The money's created for each thing. Like if we want to clean the oceans, all that plastic that's floating around out there, killing whales and turtles and all life out there, we would be able to clean that up at no charge to anyone on this planet. No one at all would have to pay a dime or a penny to get all that taken care of. All that money creation would be created to pay the people that build the boats, that take people out to clean up the place. It would pay the people that work, anybody that has any kind of job in cleaning up the oceans, whether they're actually physically going out there on a boat to clean them up themselves, or they're inland building the boat that takes the people out there, or the equipment, the nets or whatever they need to scrape up all that pollution in the oceans. All that shit was covered for free. There is no cost to anyone. The government doesn't have to figure out, what cost do we got to cut in order to cover, a Green New Deal to fix this and that. We don't have to cut costs to shit. You know, all costs, everything that costs money will be created. The money will be created for each individual that has a part in fixing that. You know, the person cleaning up the ocean, or the person building the boat, or or the doctor at the hospital. All money is created for each individual. It's not created in some bulk trillion-dollar amount in order to then budget and figure out who to give that money to. It's all created by a keystroke on a computer. And matter of fact, the food account that we have, the 4 accounts that I was mentioning, we have a food account, we have a health and hygiene account, which that basically gets you your deodorant, toothpaste, shampoo, soap, all that kind of stuff. And, Tylenol, the stuff from the medication aisle. And the 3rd account will be clothing, and also through another account, pets. All animals on this entire planet are covered for free, no cost to anyone. Whether they're your pet, your livestock at a farm, or wild animals. If you find a wild animal that's hurt and needs care at a veterinarian, it's covered for free. The vet's paid through money creation.
There are aquariums and zoos that like some of them are very exploitative, but some of them are really more rehabilitation places, and they house a lot of wild animals that are no longer able to survive in the wild because of an injury or something.
Right. All that stuff is covered, and I get so frustrated whenever I can't stand watching TV too much. I mainly watch movies, so I don't have to watch commercials, because I can't stand commercials on radio and TV. It drives me nuts. It's all capitalism. If they have to advertise, that means they have plenty to, they have plenty, But anyway, my point is whenever I watch these commercials, St. Jude's Hospital, watching these poor kids that have cancer with bald heads on television, begging for all of us to pitch in to help them and others that have cancer, it shouldn't be that way. They would be covered at no cost through any of it. We wouldn't all have to figure out, oh shit, can we afford this? Damn, should I make my kids go without so I can help this cancer kid? We don't have to make decisions like that. All that shit is covered. All the animal places, people that are rescuing animals from terrible situations, all of those things are covered. They don't have to advertise no more. And in my system, ultimately, advertising will mostly be ended the way we see it now. I mean, if you want to see new products, we will have a place for people to go and see what new products are being created, and then you can decide if you want to go buy them. But we're not going to be bombarded with capitalist ads through television and radio, while we're trying to enlighten ourselves with like a good TV show or a good movie. And I say enlighten ourselves, I'm only talking about enlightening stuff. There's a whole bunch of crap out there. That's why I don't like a lot of what's on TV. It's just a bunch of bullshit. I mean, there are a select 200 to 300 movies and TV shows that have a lot of truth to share with society. And I have those on my computer, and I could share those at some point too. Just because somebody makes a fictional movie doesn't mean that they're sharing all fiction. There's a lot of truth to be had within a lot of these movies and television shows, depending on what.
You've gotten a new fan, somebody who just joined the stream. They were like, "Is this person also running for office?" He's like, "This person is based. Fuck yeah, pet healthcare. I love this person. Tell them to start streaming." So you found a new fan, which is super cool. It was so interesting. You were just talking about movies, and I know you said you're heading off to California because you want to try to get some of these ideas made into a movie, to help promote these ideas, which is fantastic. As you said earlier on in the stream, you do get a little bit rambly. So I don't know if you've written a 1-minute elevator pitch, or a 5-minute pitch or whatever, but that would probably be really helpful because
somebody asked me that on Twitter. A friend that I chatted with many times on Twitter, he asked me, hey, could you give a summary of the system? I don't have time to read all that. So, I've attempted a summary many times, but towards the top of my page, if you go on my website, if you're using a laptop or a regular PC, you know, everything's organized differently through a phone versus on a PC.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you'll see all the links to the left side of the screen of all my pages. It's up there towards the top. It's like the anywhere from fourth or fifth, maybe sixth one down, and it says summary of the love system. And it's still not a good summary to me. I mean, I wrote that in like an hour, something like that, and it's hard for me to write, man. I could express myself and express things a lot better by speaking to them face to face. It's a little difficult for me doing this right here, even, you know.
Yeah, and
I'm
I'm not
about
even
making.
I'm not even
Okay.
saying like that you would have that like you would just deliver like hand a piece of paper over. I'm talking about like you're face to face with some producer in Hollywood or whatever, and like you've got you've got 90 seconds to convince them. You got 15 seconds to get their attention. You've got 90 seconds to get them to say, "All right, let me sit down and actually have a meeting with you." So I'm just it'd just be worth it to just consider that like you said, we're all indoctrinated into this system. We're all on this time crunch, which is like not what the world should be, but it is what it is, and you have to work with what we've got. So that might be worth it. But yeah, your new fan just asked. I don't know if this has been asked, but what was their political journey and what guided them to their political opinions? So he did answer that earlier. He said it was just there's nothing specific. It was just kind of your attempted and trying to understand other people and just be compassionate and think about the connection of human hearts.
Well, really, I never paid attention to politics my whole life. I didn't even know what a Democrat or a Republican was. I didn't know none of that until back whenever Bernie started running for office for president. What was that, 2016?
Yeah.
And so then I mean, I've had thousands of friends throughout my life and relatives, that are, I didn't know what their political scale was. I didn't even know there was a political scale. I didn't know what politics involved. I just knew that, there was something wrong with the whole system, and I didn't even know that my stepdad was a Republican. I didn't know none of that stuff, not until after I started following politics. Then I realized, holy shit, this is what's wrong with the world. All these people are politically indoctrinated, and everybody else that doesn't vote, they're just, using up their time, just trying to survive. They just choose not to be part of the political system. But really, that's when I got into politics. And like I told you, I've been in psychology, into psychology my whole life, not through studying books, but through studying people, And I don't really like saying that to people because it's, okay, well, you're going to study me now? No, that's not what I mean by that. I understand people and people's motives and why people react emotionally the way they do. I call them automatic emotional responses. And now there's also, that has to do with politics. In politics, there's tons of automatic emotional responses. Where are we going to get the money to pay for that? And just people that just get instantly angry whenever somebody says some of the things that I say, we need free health care. Oh, it's dumb, you stupid Democrat. Wait, I'm not a Democrat. I'm not into your political bullshit. I mean, I might, now that I've followed it long enough, since 2016, I suppose you could say I have, many of the Democrat stances, but still, most of them are wrong. They're just still trying to fix the system from within capitalism, and they're not trying to figure out the root cause. All they're trying to do is figure out, okay, where do we cut money to cover that? Yeah, we need to help homeless people or hungry people, but we need to cut this to do that. I don't agree with everything Bernie says about cutting certain expenses here in order to do this here, because he doesn't realize, I mean, he's a smart dude. I love him a lot. He's got a huge heart. He's a very loving person. I love him to death. But he's still indoctrinated in a capitalist system, even though he rails against capitalism all the time. He's still indoctrinated. He hasn't pulled back those last couple layers to see, wait a minute, it's not taxing people I need to do. We need to change the way money's created itself, change the banking system. And so basically I got into politics then. And luckily I did, because then I saw Trump come along, and wow, I don't like talking bad about people, but that is one ignorant person. I hope we don't have Trump supporters on here because I don't mean anything by that as far as personally to them. I still love everyone. Trump deserves to eat and have a home, and he deserves to be safe, you know, and healthy, and have education if he wants it. You know, so I love everyone. Basically, my system is designed around love. When I say I love everyone, I mean it. Even the murderers, the rapists, the pedophiles, I love everyone. All people have become what they are because of the current system we live in. Once we create the love system, then we start raising a new generation, and then that new generation raises a new generation. All of this indoctrination will be gone. People won't be stressed. People won't have depression. People won't have all the ailments they suffer psychologically and emotionally from our current system. They won't have none of that no more. And they won't be politically indoctrinated. You know, they won't be, you know, religiously indoctrinated. You know, and I'm not saying that religion is all bad. You know, I disagree with a lot of it, but I agree with a lot of it too. A lot of it's correct, and a lot of it's
preaching love, you know, as long as
Yep.
you're preaching love.
Yep, and that's all it's about. It's about love. And if you noticed anything I write, I mean, unless you find a mistake, anytime I use the word love, I use a capital L. Just like in the Bible, it says God is love.
I like
God
that.
is God. Love is God. That's what Jesus said. And I'm trying to tell all these Christians this, that love is God. If you don't love someone just because you disagree with them, then you are not part of God. You should still love that person even though you hate their beliefs, even though you hate what they are. You still should love them as a human being, as life. Anybody born, breathing, with blood flowing through their veins, you should love them. I mean, or at least have a system that loves them. You know, like I told you earlier, the reason I threw in that little caveat is because, you know, my system doesn't require people to love one another. A lot of Republicans frown on the word love. Oh, yeah, you love everybody. That ain't going to get the bills paid, blah, blah, blah. You know, things like that. You know, it's ridiculous. My system doesn't require anyone to love anyone. My system itself loves them. Of course, throughout the generations, people will learn to love better. They will feel safer to love. Currently, we live in a system that doesn't allow us to trust. If a person's walking up to us and they start getting in a conversation and they smile, and, you know, we're always very untrusting to an extent. You know, we always have to figure out in our own heads, in our own hearts, wait, is this guy trying to get something from me? Is he fixing to ask me for money? Is he a salesman? Is he trying to sell something? We're always thinking within these capitalist views. You know, like, it's all about everybody's trying to get something from someone else. In my system, it ain't like that. So you can trust that, and you can trust that driving down the road, anybody you see walking down the sidewalk, you know for a fact that that person is covered. So, and you know for a fact anybody that walks up to you is not trying to get something out of you in the sense they are right now. They might be just trying to get friendship out of you in the new one. Of course, in our current system, you know, when I approach people, I'm approaching for friendship and for good conversation. You know, but most people aren't like that. I mean, it's hard to trust in our current world, you know, because of capitalism. You can't trust people. And I wrote something about that within, what is it called? It's on my website page. It's called Mission. Let's see here. I've got my website open, so let me tell you which one it is. Mission Statement for Human Advancement. Read that one. That's the, you know, that's a few links down. You know, it's probably about 7 or 8 links down or less. But it's called Mission Statement for Human Advancement. And I talk a lot about trust in that. You know, the reasons why people commit crimes, why people, you know, can't trust one another. You know, it's built into the system. You know, and I also write about distractor factors, but I shouldn't talk about that right now. Distractor factors are what keeps most people ignorant and indoctrinated. Those are people that lack to seek enlightenment.
Yeah. So a couple of your fans on here now that you've gained, they want you to start streaming and doing your own little streams. Do you use any social media?
I've got a YouTube account, but I posted like 20 or 30 videos at one point, but I made them all private because I feel awkward. I've tried to make, I wanted to make videos so bad, but the only way I can do them the best is to have somebody sitting in front of me. You know, we feed off each other's energies, especially me. You know, I'm what you call an empath. You know, a lot of people don't believe in that, but you know, I can feel people's energies, and they can feel my energies. You know, we share energy. You know, they can feel the love, and whenever those energies are shared, it increases, and the enlightenment becomes more, and the passion becomes even greater. You know, people can see that in your eyes and facial expressions and in your heart. You know, and me talking by myself into a camera to make YouTube videos just doesn't work. You know, that's just me talking to myself. There's no energy to feed off of, no, you know, um, reciprocal comeback, you know, people to converse with. You know, like the way we're doing it right now seems okay, but I'm still a little uncomfortable doing it this way. Although it seems to be going through okay, I'm not sure how they're hearing our sound, or if my video's lagging at all, or anything like that.
I have captions. I have live captions for everything that we're saying, so people are able to just read along if the audio is bad or whatever. But everything should be coming through pretty good.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're solid on that.
Yeah, so I'd love to. That's kind of my whole purpose of going to Hollywood, to going to Los Angeles. It's going to be hard, and I'm just hoping that synchronicity will lead me to the right people. You know, the right person that's in the industry, that, you know, like a producer, director, somebody like that. That's what their time is for. So you asked about the 90-second time that I would have to, you know, introduce my thing to somebody that I meet. Uh, Generally, when I meet people, it's best to form a bond first. You know, I mean, and I can form that bond talking about this subject matter still, but you know, I still have to read someone right in the beginning to see, okay, is it going to be safe to talk to them about these types of things, or are they going to be one that just yells at me and beats me up? You know, because a lot of people are that way. You know, that they're just so emotionally controlled by this political system that I just sound like somebody like Bernie to them. You know, even though I consider myself outside of that whole political spectrum. You know, um,
You know, it might be worth it if you know, as you meet people, if you come across the kind of people who you think, you know, this would be a good person to talk to have a good conversation with. You think that they're going to give you some of their time. It might just be worth asking them before you really dive into the conversation. Hey, would you mind, you know, if going live with this conversation, and you just set up your phone, any social media, they all support going live now, all the major ones: Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. There's another Twitch that I'm on right now. They all support it, and you can just go live from your phone, and you can, you know, you got like a little tripod or something, set it up, and just have a conversation with somebody face to face. But then it'll be live there, and you'll have an audience that can interact in real time. That might be worth it. That might be a good way to grow an audience and help to spread your ideas.
I've wanted to do that, but in the heat of conversation, or I don't like to say the heat of conversation, but you know, in the passion of conversation, whenever we're having a good talk, when I'm having a good talk with someone, of course I want to record it. I've wanted to many times, and every time I'm done, I'm thinking to myself, you know, when I'm alone again, I'm like, man, I wish I would have recorded. You know, there's so much passion involved in what I talk about, but if I were to pull out a phone and start recording, that would be a distraction. I
Mm-hmm.
need a cameraman that travels with me, somebody that's willing to. If somebody wants to travel with me, there's no pay involved. They can just record my whole journey. I've been on this journey for a while, and I'm fixing to go on a new, you know, stretch of the journey, you know, on a homeless trip to California, and to try to get, you know, my works looked at or made into a movie or published or whatever. I'd rather get made into a movie than published because, like I said, I'm not a great writer, and most people don't read anyway, or most people don't read enough to read about. Not enough people read in order to get this love idea, you know, the love system, you know, manifested. You know, it needs to, most more people will watch movies or TV shows much more than they will read a book. You know, it takes weeks to read a book a lot of times for most people, and for a movie it only takes a couple hours, or a TV show, you know, however long you want to sit down for a binge watch. You know, multiple episodes. So it can come in multiple ways through television. But I'd like to do it through YouTube as well. But I need another person involved, at least,
You
a filmmaker.
you might find that there's about 60,000 homeless people in Los Angeles County right now. So you very well might find somebody who's not making any money and discovers that, hey, you know what, maybe this is where I'm needed. Maybe this is what I should be doing. So you're actually probably making the right move. You're headed to the right place. You might find the right person to be your camera person.
Yeah, and there's a lot of homeless people in Austin too, but they just passed a ban the day
Yeah, they
that
started enforcing it. I saw.
day that I was going to be moving into my car in order to prepare for my trip. That is the day that the Proposition B passed, which is a proposition that keeps the homeless people from camping or even sitting down or laying down or sleeping. So I guess everybody just needs to the rest of their lives in order so they could walk around and stay awake. Or why don't we just put them all in the fucking gas chamber, according to the way they believe. What the hell is wrong with these people? These people that make these laws, they just want they want the homeless people to just get out of,
as you said,
that doesn't get rid of them.
As you said, they're indoctrinated, right? It's not the people, right? It's the system that has caused people to believe the things that they believe. We still love all the people. It's about the systems and the structures and the incentives that are currently in place that cause people to behave in anti-humanistic ways, and that's what you and I are trying to fix.
Exactly.
I really appreciate you taking the time to come on my live stream and talk about this stuff. We've been going at this for over an hour. It's been fantastic. Did you I posted your site in the chat a couple times. I will text you that organization. Let me go find it. I'll also text you the link to this video so you can watch it anytime too. Where'd it go? Here we go. Awaken Dreams Synergy. Any closing thoughts you had?
Not really. It's just that I love you all, whoever's watching. You never told me how many people are watching, but I truly do love everyone, even the worst people in the world. I still love them. I still want them to survive, and I want them to eat and have a home. I still love everyone, and I understand why a lot of the bad people do what they do. So basically, I just love everyone, and I love you, and I hope we can, get enough people together to change this world, make it better for future generations.
Awesome. I love you too, John. Thank you so much. I'm going to end the stream. And just so you know, my counter was broken for a number of viewers. I don't know. It wasn't working today, so that's why I never said it. But I really appreciate it. And